Fighting games are hard. How hard? Well, in the newest big fighting game release, Tekken 8, about 80% of all players are in the bottom 4 ranks. Now, I'm a full-time professional fighting game player myself, however, I've never actually seriously given Tekken a serious shot. As you might think, why not? Like, isn't Tekken just another fighting game like Street Fighter or Guilty Gear or Dragon Ball FighterZ? And really, it's not. Like, those games are kind of moving left, right, jumping up and down, but Tekken has an extra dimension you can sidestep. And just this thing, not to mention the huge move list that every character has, are some of the biggest barriers for people entering the game. So I figured a brand new release would be a great time to actually try the game out, and my goal is to get Mighty Ruler in 72 hours. So if I get this rank, that will put me in that like top 20, 15-ish% of all players. But in order to do this, I needed a game plan. Different people learn fighting games different ways. Some people brute force it with a ton of matches. That way doesn't really work for me. So normally when entering a new game, I'll try the tutorial, but commit to a character, and try to play some matches and then go back and forth between practice and matches. Luckily, I asked on Twitter, who should I play? And many of you recommended Azucena. This is a couple of months ago at this point now, so she was much better than she is right now. Now, tutorials are really good for filling in the blanks. We're looking at things like game-specific mechanics, legacy techniques, combos, and even counterplay. All of these things can be found in your typical fighting game tutorial. However, Tekken did not have such a thing. So instead, I ended up going into training mode because the stream chat said there was a combo trainer in there. So I spent just a little while and decided to just hop in. So my first matches were anything but clean. I did take a little time to learn one combo, but the movement is just so different compared to a 2D fighter that honestly I was really out of my element. I was broadcasting this live on Twitch, and the stream chat was trying to help. The only problem is I didn't understand anything that they were saying. Tekken has a unique notation system compared to other fighting games. If you played games like Dragon Ball FighterZ or Guilty Gear, which I play on this channel, you would know about numpad notation. So people would use numbers as directions. So 6 forward, 4 back, 2 down, etc. Tekken uses numbers for buttons. So 1 is left punch, 2 is right punch, 3 is left kick, 4 is right kick. Honestly pretty easy to understand since I play a lot of fighting games. So the main actual problem was being able to tell what was actually coming. When someone's saying that 2-1 is punishable, I can't really recognize it. And on top of that, I don't have a game plan with my character. Really, all I did was learn a combo that guarantees some damage. I got some exposure to characters like Elisa and Kuma and just getting a general idea of what characters did day one, but overall it was pretty fun. I felt like I was learning a lot. I didn't really care too much about how I was doing. When I wrapped up the stream, I decided to put a little bit more time into the game, mostly focusing on combos and movement, but also knowing that I didn't really have a good game plan for the character yet. I actually watched a how to fight Azucena video by a Tekken creator. I think his name's Fidix. I'll have a link to that in the pinned comment. I pretty much used this video to reverse engineer a game plan of Azucena, and I played a couple of matches to try to get used to some of the new tactics. Day 2 was quite a day in comparison to day 1, where I was having a lot of fun just learning and getting used to the game. Day 2 was when I ran into some of the things I heard about Tekken. So for example, people who win quit. So if you've played any other games, you've definitely heard of rage quitters. Since people take Tekken rank pretty seriously, there are some people who, if they feel like the game was a little close, they'll win the game and then leave instead of playing a 2 out of 3 set. The more extreme version is people will just quit in the middle of the game. Tekken players call these pluggers, but it sounds a little bit too much like a slur to me, but hey, not my community. And while I'm still enjoying learning the game and the learning process, this is pretty annoying. My pressure is getting much better, and I think this is pretty important to get through the low ranks, but punishing is still pretty hard. You hear Tekken players talk about the punish game, and so being able to recognize moves quickly in Tekken and use the correct punish is extremely important. For somebody who hasn't played the game, a huge struggle is that things that don't look punishable are very punishable. So being able to recognize specific moves are really important. The second night came upon me, and that night I decided to watch tournament play. So people specifically were like, don't rely too much on tournament play to inform how you should play the game. But I thought no matter what, it would definitely help. I know it would be different for sure, but I could definitely pick up some things from high level players. So I took a couple of notes on just matches from replay channels to try to use on day 3. The next day, my pressure starts getting much tighter, and I start winning from pure offense. Azucena in particular has a lot of ways to push offense, and she has tricky mix-ups. So this really fits my personal playstyle as a player. And honestly, I'm having a blast at this point. I'm also starting to push my combo game a little bit and understand the knockdown game. Knockdown is really important in fighting games, and understanding this system is really important to keep an advantage, and Tekken actually has a lot of options on knockdown compared to other games. In my current main game, Guilty Gear, there's pretty much only 2 types of knockdowns, period, and the only question is, do you have enough advantage to do something about it? Where Tekken has face up, face down knockdowns, and then all sorts of options between rolling, spring kicks, and more. So learning how to wake up correctly is really important, and also recognizing patterns and seeing what you can and can't punish is also important. At this point, I'm getting better at punishing things soon because I'm running into a lot of the same characters. So for example, at this point, by far my most played matchup is Reina Mishima. So properly assuming they're going to do their lunging attack and then crouching under the high follow-up and then launching for a punish was a really good example. Since my first day started like pretty late in the day, like at 5 p.m., even though I'm going into day 4, hour-wise, we're still lined up, so I'm keeping it pushing. I rose to the ranks and reached red ranks. So this is where the actual struggle is. So there's beginner ranks, right? And then eventually you enter yellow and orange. These are still kind of beginner ranks from the scope of pretty much the entire rank system, but once you run into the red ranks, this is where the ranked hell begins. And I was warned by Tekken friends about red hell and how frustrating it might be, but honestly, I was on a roll. I thought I was gonna do this no problem, and to be honest, boy was I wrong. Loss after loss after loss after loss came in on this last day. I played a ridiculous amount of games this day trying to get that purple rank. And in the end, of all the people to truly humble me and show me that I plateaued, is King. A pretty polarizing character. Some people love him, some people despise him, and I was not a big fan of him. He was the one that really put me in the ground and showed me I can't get better just playing anymore. So, failure. I couldn't do it. But that little competitive spark in me would not let me give up. I decided I was going to get purple no matter what. I didn't play 72 hours. I just played for like 3 days. So I decided to give myself more time, basically a week, to actually get 72 hours on my Steam clock. So I decided to develop a new game plan. So I've already had a good amount of experience, plus Stream Chat helped me a lot, plus a bunch of matches. And I identified a handful of problems that I had. One was, honestly, there's just a lot of characters, and some of them have things from old games I don't know how to deal with well. Of course, I don't think I have anywhere near the amount of time to learn everything about every single character in a week. That would be honestly crazy. But just learning some about repeated characters I keep running into would really help. 2 would be to push my combo and knockdown situations even more using the heat system, a new system in Tekken 8 that I didn't feel like I was taking very good advantage of compared to some people in red. And 3, finally, getting more comfortable with using small choices to inform big choices. There are some mix-ups that have really big returns if you hit them, but if they get blocked, you die. So instead, using safer checks first before you go for big reads so that I just don't take a lot of damage. So the next day, I asked an old Tekken friend who's been playing since Tekken 1 to help me out versus a bunch of the characters. I spent pretty much my whole day, around 6 or 7 hours, just in a call reviewing replays. And I felt like this would be really the big push that would help me hit the goal. And with that, we pushed. The next day, climbing back out of orange back into red. And slowly but surely clawing my way through red ranks. Match after match after match, I kept implementing the things that I learned, along with little isms about Tekken. So for example, an axe kick is probably plus. A slow spinning low probably is punishable. And if you block it, you definitely get a combo. Whip punishing is a skill that's really important in 2D fighters, but in Tekken, you could do whole strings on whip. So using power crushes to whip punish until I got comfortable with the character's string so I could actually use the proper punish also helped me a lot. With these tactics and more, I push until day number 7. We're all gonna be here for this moment. Together.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
1 week, baby. And at 2 a.m. in the morning, with only about an hour to spare, I got Mighty Ruler, putting me in the top 15% wink of all Tekken players online. In only a week and not playing King. So what did I learn? One, Tekken is pretty fun. There's a bunch of players who complain about some modern fighting games who should really give it a try. There's a lot to learn, which is pretty cool. I do actually enjoy like digging into systems and seeing little things about characters, so I found that to be very, very fun. I also learned it's not as intimidating as I thought. You really would think that I would know this from being a Guilty Gear player, because Guilty Gear is also known for being a very difficult game to get into. Honestly, I'm sure there's some boomer who's going to be in the comments like, well, Strive's not that hard to get into. Well, Strive is new now, so if you want to try to get it now, I'm sure you have a much more difficult time than in 2021 when the game came out. Ranked matching you with people generally at your own skill is actually a pretty good way to get in. So even though there's a lot of stuff, you're not really responsible, I guess, for all the things that are in the game. Like, you really can just grow at your own pace, which I think is really nice. A skill I found really important was actually something I mentioned earlier, was recognizing specific moves. This is actually the biggest thing I had problems with. In the games that I play, typically I play games by Arc System Works. They have a system that lets you know when you get hit or block big moves and when you get hit or block small moves. So the small moves are harder to see, but generally don't have a lot of advantage. The big moves might have some special advantage, but also you can just see them easier. Where in Tekken, it's really just a homie's kicking you and punching you and stuff. So actually recognizing what is coming is really, really important, and you can't rely on the block stun, especially since usually I think low block stun you're not punishing, but some moves are very, very punishable and it doesn't feel like they have a lot of block stun. That took a lot of getting used to. When I started playing Guilty Gear again, I felt like I was seeing certain attacks that I wouldn't normally see or would have difficulty seeing before, so I found that to be probably one of the biggest, most important skills in Tekken. I know the rank is considered to be high, but also it's like not high at the same time. But it's one of those, it just goes to show how much this game has, which I thought was pretty cool. Between this and LordKnight, I've really been trying to play fighting games I either have never played or have barely played. So I'm really glad I actually got to do this. I had a really good time. Everyone in stream chat was pretty helpful. And hopefully I get to do some more Tekken stuff on this channel with some other creators. As usual, if you have any questions or comments, definitely feel free to leave them in the comment section below. Like and subscribe if you guys feel like it. I do have a Metafy, not for Tekken, by the way. I'm not the person that asked for Tekken. But if you're playing Guilty Gear or any anime fighters, I do have a Metafy that I'm trying to push a little bit more. And of course, I'll see you guys next time. Peace out. When I say shit in Guilty Gear, I gotta like tell you why. For this game, I'm just saying shit. Fuck Jin, dude. Fuck Jin, fuck King, fuck Lily. Fuck Dragunov, fuck Hwoarang, you're not good if you play those characters. I'm an expert, I've been playing for 5 days.